Well, hello, everybody. This is Julie Gardner with Rise Up Wealth. I am so excited to introduce you to one of my good friends and mastermind buddies, Shannon Shriver, and the crowd goes wild. So he is an estate planning specialist at Legacy Assurance Plan. And hopefully, if we do things right in our life and we invest well, we save, we have a pretty little nest egg or even a large nest egg as we age, what are we going to do when we pass away? Who's getting the egg? How long is it going to take for them to get it? Well, Shannon knows what's happening. He has such a wealth of experience, no pun intended, and passion to empower families through purposeful estate planning. And he is a leading strategist with Legacy Assurance Plan. He helps individuals navigate the complexities of legacy preservation by aligning financial, legal, and long-term care strategies with each client's unique goals. Shannon's not your typical estate planning pro. He's got 25 years in the financial services industry. That's impressive. So he's seen all kinds of angles and styles and whatnot. So he can take your complex topics and make it really simple for down to earth people like us. So let's dive in. Shannon, welcome.
Well, thank you, Julie. I'm glad to be here.
So I know your passion is cycling. Did you go on a cycling outing today, going bike riding?
I took the day off just to be sure I had some energy left for you on the podcast.
And how many miles did you ride this weekend?
About 60.
What? I don't even like to drive 60 miles, but
and it's better on two wheels.
I won't ask you to show your legs on the screen and show us your muscles either, but impressive. Good job. So Shannon, estate planning. And I've had people pass away in my life. I've had people go through probate. I've had people talk about wills and whatnot. So, but I don't know. I'd say squat. I know squat. I might not know sit about all the, that sounds kind of funny. I did say SIT. That's funny. I did say, I don't know, sit from squat to sit. I don't know everything about estate planning. So let's get started. But first, let's celebrate those people that have any kind of savings right now. If you've even got $1,000, give yourself some props. Now let's talk about what to do with it. So how do we protect it? So tell us a little bit about estate planning. And if you want to throw in there too, how Legacy Assurance started, tell us all about it.
Okay. Everyone that hears about terms of wills and estate planning and probate and such, they think, well, why in the world do we have to go through this? Our country was set upon founders that back in their prior country, this was the estate plan where they came from. The king would give a young married man some land. He would then pay for that land back to the king and pay off that land. Then he'd also grow things on that land to pay taxes to the king. When that man died, because the value or the lack of value for women and children in that economic system, the king would take all the land back and start over with a new married couple. We come to the United States and we say, hey, we want our own things that we have earned to be able to pass to the family. So hence the estate planning process. And basically it's where that if you have assets, whether that be property, whether that be vehicles, whether that be monies, we want to pass that on to our heirs. And people say, well, I don't have much. I don't need anything for my estate plan. Well, I'll tell you up front, the state I live in Alabama, they already have a will for me. It is absolutely against what I want to happen, and they don't care whether my wishes or wants are known. So it's called the intestate of the state of Alabama, and all 50 states have it.
What is it? How do you spell that?
Intestate. INSTATE.
Okay. So if people wanted to look that up, they could just look it up and go, what's in state from my state?
Yeah. Look up, Kentucky intestate laws, and they'll have them for you. Most of them are about the same. They're archaic. They're based upon families not going through divorce, not getting remarried with mixed families, not getting dealing with our modern economics and our modern society on how things are going. So to trump that, you have to have a will. A will supersedes the intestate laws. The shocking fact is that only 70% of the people in the United States do not even have their personal will, which means they are at the mercy.
What? I thought you were going to say 70% have it. You're saying 70% don't even have it? That's terrible.
And will be subject to whatever the state desires it to be. Well, you want a will, and a will provide that information. The key is in estate planning is knowing what you want to do and getting it set up. You mentioned our company started over 40 years ago. Our founder's father, a very successful businessman decades ago, was successful. He knew he needed to go to the attorney and get all this taken care of. He got a will, he got a trust, he got financial power of attorneys, medical, a living will, all of it. And paid at that time quite a bit of money, $5,000. But the attorney never told them to put your property inside the trust, title your deed to the trust. His father had all these legal documents and died and went through probate and spent another $10,000.
Oh,
his son, our founder, says there's got to be a better way. Hence the creation of Legacy Assurance Plan. And we are a lifetime membership. So as life changes, you have the right to change without starting all over from scratch.
Wait, you said lifetime membership. So it's like a club and a membership. Yeah. And then is it a one-time membership fee? Is it a monthly fee?
It's a one-time lifetime membership. And therefore, if you have everything in place and you need to make some changes, we have what I call a warranty to it. It's very relatively inexpensive, but you're not paying $300, $400 an hour for a new attorney to do the changes that you need made in your estate plan.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So anything else you want to tell us about estate planning before we talk about some misunderstood elements of it?
Well, that's probably a good place to launch off of. Probably the most misunderstood, we say 30% have a will, 70% don't. So we're really dealing with the 30% that at least took some action. But the misconception is that if I have a will, I'm protecting my family when I die from going through probate. I sat down with Betty the other day and I shared with her how we could help her. And she said, "Oh, I've already got a will." And she went and got the will out of her back room. She brought it into me and says, "Because I have this, my family will not go through probate." I said, "Well, interesting, Miss Betty. Tell me how you know that." She turned over the page and said, "Look, I have a no contestability clause in my will, which means it will not go through probate." Well, probate is a word that came from an old Latin word, which simply means to prove. If you have a will, you're better than those 70%, but you're guaranteed to go through probate because the first thing the judge is going to prove is that will notarized? Is it signed properly? Has it been covered? And is it the most recent? It hasn't been superseded by a future will for them. She says, no.
So just to interrupt. So probate is basically just them validating, verifying everything, correct? And a judge does that. And if anybody has noticed that Jim Bob that robbed the liquor store down the street, he might get arrested, but he doesn't go to trial for like 2 years. So, oh my goodness. So, okay. So even if your Uncle Eddie died last week or last month, that could take a lot. How long does that typically take for a judge to even get his file to come through? So how long does probate take? And what happens? Like, what are the consequences of having to go through probate?
Usually someone's passed away, the family will, because they have not planned correctly, will have to put their will through probate. And therefore the judge will look at the land, the property, the house, the vehicles, all that, and come up with an estate value From that point on, the average time for the probate court to happen is a year and a half, 18 months.
Oh, that's so, and that means your assets are tied up. You can't
Absolutely.
pay off Uncle Eddie's funeral with Uncle Eddie's assets. So someone's having to foot the bill or put it on a charge card. Hello, that's a whole nother podcast episode. Okay. So it's 18 months till we get full access to the assets. But then also, let's say Uncle Eddie had $50,000. How much do you think it would cost to even process through probate? Because it costs somebody something. That judge isn't working for free.
Well, if let's say they had $50,000. By the way, every state's a little bit different. The threshold in Alabama is $36,000. If you have less than $36,000 of assets, or net worth, as we call it, while we're living, you don't have to go through probate. But if you've got a house paid for and a couple of vehicles, an IRA, some life insurance, jewelry, diamonds, gold, that can add up very quickly. But the 18 months is there. And as I said, Miss Betty thought that she'd gotten a will so her kids would not have to go through probate. By the way, just for a sidebar, the contestability clause in a will simply says if you're a beneficiary of that will and you contest during probate court that you're not getting enough, you're automatically removed as a beneficiary from the will and you get nothing. So yes, it keeps down maybe some of the complaining, but it doesn't provide the protection of avoiding probate.
That is, that'll teach you not to complain and argue, right?
Yes.
All right. So probate though, how much do you think that would, do you get to save people money? But like I said, there's a cost. So when it goes through probate, it takes money out of your inheritance, right?
Correct. In a general probate court, the judge will validate whether there's a will. They'll pay for an attorney to do that. But instead of the judge paying the attorney with his money, he's paying it with the estate or the value that was left there. He'll go and check the deed, have an attorney check the deed, make sure there's not a lien against the house, that it's truly owned by that individual, pay the attorney, reducing the estate. And that just goes on until everything's been proven. The average cost of probate in the United States is 3 to 8% of the estate value. And you'll say, oh, 3 to 8% is not much. But if you have $1 million estate, you're looking at 30 to 80,000 off the top of what you want your family to have going to judges and attorneys versus to your family and your loved ones.
Well, I'm greedy. I don't want to give it up. So what's the alternative? What would you recommend? Oh, we might be going into too deep on this. Hey, if y'all want to know the answer, y'all going to have to go ask Shannon because I can't be telling you all the story, right? So if y'all want to know more about that, you have to reach out to Shannon. But let's move on because probate's interesting. Y'all might want to skip that. All right, let's skip ahead. What about power of attorney? Because that's involved with having your estate planning and a living will. Because, hello, I drive on the interstate. Stuff happens. I might be sick and in the hospital. And so my husband, I might have just had an argument with my husband the day before or right before I got in the car wreck. He might want to pull the plug.
Yeah.
But how does that work? He doesn't.
Well, there's 3 people that have gotten a will. The other 3 things that most attorneys tell them is they need a power of attorney financially, a power of attorney medically, and then the living will, or also called a medical directive. So here's the situation. I'm in a car wreck. We won't put you in the car wreck. I'll be in the car wreck. I cannot, I'm in a coma. If I were paying all the bills in our household, no one is authorized to pay them. Therefore, the house will go through foreclosure and all the bills will be turned off. A power of attorney would be where my wife I have designated her as the financial power of attorney to be able to do as much with my money or our money as I was able to when I was not in a coma. That's the financial. Then the medical side is when, hey, the doctor suggests we need to do this, and my children say no, and my wife says yes, and it's a big family quarrel. The power of attorney, medical power of attorney, designates the person that has the right to make those decisions for me because I can't make them for myself currently at that time. Then the living will is dealing with, hey, what are you doing And how far do you want to go down the medical funnel taking care of your health? Many times when you go into a hospital for even minor surgery, they'll provide a quick one-page medical directive or living will saying, if you have a problem, do you want to stay on the feeding tube? If you're only staying alive because of machine, do you want to continue that with hopes the doctor will find an answer for that? Real short story, but my wife and I had recently got married and her mother passed away, had an aneurysm in her head, went straight up there, exploded. She was in UAB for a number of months. Well, my sister was not the power of attorney. Her two brothers were not power of attorney. Her husband was not power of attorney. No one was. So who has the right to make that decision? Who has the right to go? Technically, from a legal point of view, the children had no rights. Oh, by the way, her husband was not their father. So it was even more
sticky.
Yeah, sticky would be a nice word to use. And it almost came down to where all of them had to give up. Hey, his mom's not going to be here any longer. And her husband was the one that said, all right, I'm ready to let her go. The weird side story, she was an organ donor. She wanted to be good on the medical side for that. She grew up as a nurse, but because it took so long for everyone to agree on it, her organs were not even usable as a donation after her passing.
That's a bummer. Yeah. So, by the way, do you have wheels turning yet? Like, oh, I don't have it all together. I might need to get it together. What kind of concerns, Shannon? So who in the audience needs to go, I might need to write down his number and reach out. Tell me some people that might be having some concerns that people face that maybe they should call you. Like, okay, I'm it. I should talk to Shannon. Maybe we didn't hit them all, but what would be a trigger of why people should call you or reach out?
Well, many times when people get toward the retirement age and they have that next chapter of their life, they take a obligation, a responsibility to, I need to make sure that the chapter is complete and I'm finishing it, I'm not leaving it for my family to figure everything out. If someone's trying to avoid probate, we have a lot of opportunity to help people that way. Or unexpected incapacity. We hear in the news all the time, Alzheimer's, dementia, brain injury by whether it be motorcycle, skateboard, or automobile. Again, you can't make the decisions for your estate planning if you cannot make legal and financial decisions for yourself. And probably one of the hot buttons right now is Medicaid spin down. People are in our age are getting to where they're not whether they need it, it's when they're going to need a nursing home, and how can I qualify for Medicaid? And you almost have to lose everything. So how do I trade possession so that I do not have to spend everything I've earned to accomplish that? And then just not wanting to pay unnecessary taxes and fees for estate plan. Because I have no idea to tell anybody what their estate plan cost is going to be in the future. I know what our membership cost is, and it sums up all that, but that's up to them.
It's so fascinating because I didn't know about all the estate planning. I knew it would be important, but I was young. It didn't matter. But my dad had dementia and my mom had to take care of him. And, we're hoping and praying all worked out. But at the end of the day, it's nice to know you're not being a burden, and it saves the beneficiaries money too. So I think this is interesting. Apparently I've got an X above fine. Sorry, folks. They got extra designs on here. But if you want to know if you should have a trust or a will, scan this. This goes to Shannon, and that'll reach out to him. Shannon, will you get notified and then you'll reach out to them? How will that code work?
Actually, the QR code they give me their name and their phone number and their email. Then I will email them the pamphlet our company offers, Understanding the Wills and Trusts Better to know what's best for their situation. Probably another misconception is everybody's estate plan needs to be just like everybody else's. No, it doesn't. It's like trying to put all women in a size 6 shoe with heels. It doesn't work.
Do it. That got to work for me. My feet are bigger than that. That's awesome. Well, gang, I hope that you have learned a lot. If you get lost or you still want his number and you don't want to do the QR code, email me and let me know. But this is about your wealth, your generation, your legacy, and let us serve you. If you have questions, if you want to learn more and ask more questions, or you're like, hey, you haven't covered my topic yet, then just email me and let me know what topic you want. On our next episode, we're going to talk about how to buy your first house. Even though interest rates are high, don't worry. We're going to teach you how to get your first house. So pass this along. Shannon, thank you so much. You're the best. And y'all, I love Shannon. He is an educator more than he is, let me put you in a headlock and sell you something. So he will educate you and he will not wear you out if it's not for you. And it's okay to say no thanks, but go get the education and find out what you don't know. All right, guys, have a great day.